Greetings, Sentinels fans! Today we will be making more comparisons between the Enhanced Edition and the Definitive Edition. Let's look at Legacy's deck. Before we jump in, I'll actually start with the variants, since really there is only the two in Definitive Edition. A third will come with Desperation, but that is the future. Base Legacy is what you remember with a minor change. Galvanize now boosts all of Legacy's allies instead of all hero cards. This means that Galvanize no longer boosts Legacy's own damage, but non-hero allies get the boost. So a slight nerf, but not a significant one. First Appearance Legacy acts to protect his teammates, reducing damage his allies take by 1, inverting the benefit from Galvanize from offense to defense. So his base powers are still the OP abilities that we all know and love. Interesting how so far we haven't really gotten variants in Definitive Edition for the Old Legacy or the Young Legacy. There is speculation that Young Legacy will be getting her own deck, but who knows with Old Legacy. Legacy is another deck that hasn't changed too terribly much, for better or worse. He still behaves essentially the same, primarily a support character who makes his allies more powerful by just being there, but also has a lot of single-use offense cards and some self-sacrifice defense cards. In the transition from EE to DE, most of Legacy's cards have minor changes. 2 of them, well, technically 3, but we'll stick with just 2 of them, did not make it to the new version. Surge of Strength was kinda unnoticeable, as I almost forgot to add it to the script. Legacy does deal some damage, but it is very clear that it isn't really his role. He's a support, not DPS. His damage is usually a bonus, so I tend not to find much use in his personal power boosts like this. There is one notable card that didn't make it though. Next Evolution gave Enhanced Legacy a power that made him immune to 1 type of damage for a round. This ability was one of the more broken ones, as you may remember from my banned strategies video. Pair it up with Lead from the Front, which allows you to redirect any villain damage to Legacy, and he can protect his whole team from a single damage type for essentially the rest of the game. And since most villains have a damage type focus, this can pretty easily make them a non-issue. So I'm not surprised this one was dropped. Speaking of Lead from the Front, it is one of the cards that made it over, but was completely unchanged. The other 4 are the Legacy Ring, Flying Smash, Bulletproof Skin, which was originally called Fortitude, and Inspiring Presence. Lead from the Front and Inspiring Presence I get. Both of them are good cards. The Legacy Ring I think should have taken a cue from Wraith's Utility Belt and added on an additional effect. Even if that effect is as simple as a power that allows one hero to draw 1 card, to give more reason for the Legacy Ring to be played. Especially since Legacy's other powers aren't as likely to show up as Wraith's powers. Same idea with Bulletproof Skin taking a cue from Haka's Tomoko. Just some minor effect to give more reason to play this card over another. I'm on the fence about Flying Smash though. And this leads me to the very minor changes. The new Thok has essentially taken the effect from the old Back Fist Strike, but replaces 4 damage with 5. Old Thok's effect is not in the new deck. Heroic Interception works the same as before, but now the self-damage is fixed instead of regular damage. Motivational Charge works the same as before, except it now does 3 damage instead of 2. And the point of healing goes to Legacy's allies, but not Legacy himself. Now cards with more major changes start with Bolster Allies. It still has each hero draw a card, but now it allows another hero to play a card. And every hero likes that. Takedown has a bit of a change to it. Instead of preventing the villain from playing cards for a round in exchange for 2 damage to Legacy, now this ongoing sits on the field and waits for a villain card to get played, which you can then send to the discard instead if you choose, taking 2 damage and destroying this card for your trouble. I am unclear if you get to see the villain card first. I think you can, but don't quote me on that. But if you can, this can make Takedown more powerful against classic mode villains, since now you can counter specific cards. However, with the increased prevalence of Discover effects and extra card draws, this may be more of a lateral move. It's also worth noting that Takedown was especially useful in Enhanced Edition Team Villain mode, as it prevented each villain from playing any cards for a round. And for similar reasons, it was useful for Phase 3 of Oblivion fights. However, the new effect is only good for a single villain card play. So if Vengeance and Oblivion modes end up as similar, then Takedown got a nerf here. Next is Danger Sense, which still protects Legacy from the environment, though only from environment targets instead of everything from the environment. Which I think amounts to the same thing now, as I think all damage now has target associated with it. Damage that used to come out of nowhere is now like fixed self-damage or something like that. But Legacy also now has a power to bury an environment target in exchange for destroying Danger Sense. So if an environment target is being a bit of a pain, you can boot it from the field, though only the targets, not the ongoing cards. And I am pretty sure this works on Spite's victims as well. Yeah, while Spite's victims are villain cards, they are considered environment targets, so I think it is fair game for Legacy's Danger Sense. Do you think they had this in mind? Because that is some foresight. And last for this section is Dauntless Durability, which used to reduce damage dealt to Legacy by 3 if the damage was originally 5 or more. New Durability instead completely blocks the damage of 5 or more and then destroys itself, which is a lot more in keeping with how this specific Legacy power works in the lore. Also, whenever Durability is destroyed, Legacy gains 2 hit points. So even if its ability never gets used and is destroyed by ongoing destruction, you still get a consolation prize. Now, I don't think damage of 5+ in a single instance is all the more common in Definitive Edition than it is in Enhanced, so I'm not certain of its usefulness. Still, the 2 hit points prevents it from being a complete dead play, as long as there's some ongoing destruction going around. And we finish off this listing with the brand new cards. First is Keen Vision, a very interesting possibility for Legacy. It gives him a power allowing Legacy to reveal and replace a card in any one deck. Then, if the chosen deck wasn't allies, that hero may draw a card or use a power. So now we have some extra choices available. Do we get a sneak peek at the villain's next card, or do we give a hero a power? It is also worth noting that giving a hero a power use could potentially be more useful than Galvanize depending on your lineup. They kind of took Greatest Legacy's effect and put it into the regular Legacy's deck. This is an example of a really good power, one that is different from the base power which you have as standard, but good enough to see use. And with the Legacy Ring, you could potentially use both powers. It is very nice to see Legacy's support abilities grow like this. Next up is the ol' 1/2, a one-shot that has Legacy deal 2 damage to a bad guy and then play another card. Little bit of bonus damage for you. You may also know that this is the only instance of Legacy playing extra cards. We'll get back to that. Finally, there is a True Hero, which lets Legacy draw 2 cards and heals each ally 1 hit point. And you'll probably need that card draw to get the most out of Legacy. After all, you may notice that Legacy does not seem to have any of the new functions. There are no Discover actions, no Summons, no Salvage, and no Collect actions. The only way for Legacy to get stuff on the table without outside help is the classic way. Draw the card and play the card. In Enhanced Edition, where drawing and playing was not only the norm, but often a necessity, this was fine. Everything went at that pace. Definitive Edition goes a lot faster though. Nearly every hero now has ways of accelerating their play, even the slower ones in Enhanced Edition. Here, let me give an example. Citizen Dawn finishes her turn. Your move, Absolute Zero. Okay. I play Conductive Installation. Draw a card and collect the high-yield coolant tanks, then play Desperate Deployment to get the Isothermic Transducer, and chain off of that to Modular Repair to salvage and play that null-point thingamajig that Tears made me discard. And chain off of that to play the coolant tanks, then, going down the list, Modular Repair has me hurt 1, rebound 1 damage onto Dawn, and heal 1. Deployment does the same. I'll use my power to hurt 1 and hit Dawn for another 1, and the tanks will let me draw an extra card. Okay, Paul, your turn. I play Thok and take out Citizen Tears. Then I Galvanize. Good job, Paul. I know I'm being a little hyperbolic, but this is a legit set of turns that could happen. It has become a lot more common for these really dynamic turns to happen, for a ton of effects to activate or cards to enter or leave play in interesting ways. But with Legacy, it will almost always be play 1 card, use 1 power, draw 1 card. And the example I just gave had Legacy's turn be just as effective as Absolute Zero's turn. Heck, Legacy did more damage than Zero. But Frost played 6 cards and got almost fully set up with a little bit more room to grow. Legacy is still just as useful as he always was, it's just in comparison to his colleagues, he has been made a lot less exciting. I had my family play DE once, and my mother played Legacy while my sister played Raw. Sis had a good time burning everything. Mom didn't feel like she was doing much. Legacy's power boosts and defense were still very useful in the fight. Legacy more than pulled his weight, but Mom didn't feel like she was participating nearly as much. Legacy's simplicity makes for an excellent hero to teach the game, but it comes at the cost of making it feel like you're not contributing as much as the rest of the team, even though you are. For someone like me who has gotten used to playing several heroes at a time, this is insignificant. For someone who is only playing 1 hero, New Legacy can feel underwhelming. This is a weird position to be in. Since this deck is still better than his original, but the progress he made here did not match the progress of the rest of the game. Now, the sneak peek at the new variant we will get from Dispiration has gotten a fair amount of positive reception, due to allowing for an extra card play and maybe get some more of those nice effects going. Now, this is an earlier version, no idea if this will have the same effect at launch, but it may at least have something similar. So in all, Legacy does have improvements to his deck, and he is still really powerful, but he has become a lot more stagnant to play in relation to the rest of the game. And that about covers it. No video for the month of October as I am getting married. So I will see you for the month after. Hope you enjoyed this video. Take care, friends. Mr. John, stop getting tangled up in the mic cord. Give me a minute. There are times I forget that birds exist, and then I start recording. Okay. Okay.